joining us. Before I forget, we have a promo code live specifically for you to use with your texture shears. So if you go over to our website today and you purchase any shear, use the promo code Willy, WILLY, and you will get 20% off and a free texture shear and a free razor. So Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. Have fun. If you have questions, ask them in the Q&A or chat. I'll be here facilitating those questions too, Jessica. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Willie. Hi, guys. Thank you for taking some time off on your day off, probably. I know a lot of you are off on Mondays to get some education today. That's awesome. You should give yourself a pat on the back for that. My name is Jessica Selders. You can find me on Instagram. It's J Selders Does Hair. I'm an independent educator from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour and a half outside of Pittsburgh. I've been in the business for over 10 years. I'm a shark fin shears ambassador. I'm also a representative for Alkali Beauty, and I'm looking to branch out more into the education field. I specialize in hair cutting, hair color, hair extensions, and clipper cutting. So today, the class goal is to provide you with a comprehensive understanding of texture shears and blending shears and the skills and techniques required to master their use, to create a wide range of hairstyles. So you may want to get a notebook and take some notes, because there's going to be some things. I know a lot of people ask, like, what do I use this for? Why are there so many teeth in this one? Why are there only a few teeth in this one? And that's what this class is all about. So in this class, we will talk about the different types of texture and blending shears, their uses, and the different blades they have. We will also talk about some hair cutting techniques to create texture, blending, and debulking. I will show you the proper use of your shears, including proper ways to hold your shears. That makes a huge difference. And how to section for the type of cut you are trying to achieve. So I usually like to section vertically when I'm blending my layers in. I feel like horizontally, you're going to see more of a line of demarcation when you do that. So you're probably wondering, what are the difference between blending shears and texture shears and thinning shears, right? Those words are used so interchangeably. There's a reason. There's so many different ones. So your blending shears and texture shears are two different types of cutting tools that serve different purposes in the hair cutting process. Your texture shears have a serrated or notch blade. So I'll grab the 15 teeth from Shark Fin. Those are registered under the texturizing category on their website. And you can see they have a serrated or notch blade that helps create texture to choppy hairstyles. The teeth on the blades help grip and cut the hair in a way that creates unevenness, which is ideal for cutting layered or piecey looks. So this is good for your pixie cuts. Maybe they want a lot of textured layers. These are great for that. There's also a few more uses, but we'll get to that. So your blending shears, I'm going to grab my favorite blending shears, the eraser. They have straight blades that are used to create seamless transitions between different hair lengths. They are also used to blend layers or to even out the hair for a smooth, polished look. So I use these a lot for blending my fades, where I'm connecting I do a lot of scissor over comb, where I'm connecting my clipper work into my scissor work on a fade. These are amazing for that. So again, the texture shears have a serrated or notch blade, and the blending shears have straight blades. Okay, so I want to show you the different types of shears that Shark Fin offers. They have the 7T, which they are named after the number of teeth they have. These are the chunkers. I like these ones a lot. These are great for making really piecey looks. So then we have the 15 tooth. That's for texturizing. I borrowed these ones from my coworkers so I could show you guys today. And you can see how the blades are serrated there at the ends. So these are your go-to texture shears. These are great. These are very versatile. You can use these for a lot of things. Then you have your thinning shears, which are the 28T, which was brought to my attention that they will be upgrading these to a 30T in the near future. You'll see these on the website in a 30T. These are good for thinning and debulking, taking weight out of the hair. And then, of course, the eraser, the blending shear. These are so cool to me because it was the first pair of shears I ever saw that had teeth on both blades. I don't know if you can see those little tiny ones there at the top. And they're serrated and they're very texturized at the bottom there too. Those are my go-to blending shears. But the 40T also can be used as blending shears as well. So the same technique, the scissor over comb for fades, the 40T is great for that as well. I feel like the more teeth they have, the more blending effect you're going to get out of your shears, out of your haircut. If I'm going too fast, if there's any questions, please drop a question in the chat. I'll be glad to answer it for you. I really want to show you, this is the fun part. This is so you can see the difference and see the shears in action. I prepared a few hair extensions here. And I'm going to do a pretty hard cut on each of them just so you can demonstrate and see how much hair is left after using them. It's a little awkward cutting hair on paper, so bear with me, guys. So I'm going to start with the 7T, the chunkers. I'm going to take 3 cuts on each piece. And your shears should be able to cut and slide right through the hair like that. If you have proper tension on your shears, which you should always be checking the tension on your shears daily, you should be able to cut and not pull somebody's hair. You can see that wonderful texture that's left. It's almost like a weaved highlight. I love it. Now we're going to go to the 14. Shout out to Gabby who let me borrow these from her. And see, that leaves kind of a chunkier texture as well, just not quite as harsh as the 7 does. Leaves a lot left, more hair is left over after using these. Then we'll go to the 28. This pair I have had for over 10 years. They actually came in my student kit when I was in school. That's how good these shears are. They will last you a lifetime if you take good care of them. Have the maintenance, oil them properly. You can see that's a lot more blended looking. I chose black extensions too on white so you could really see the difference. Now we're going to go to my 40. The 40 and the eraser are very close. You're going to see that here. And now we're going to go to the eraser. Where did I put them? In the more teeth, you definitely feel a little more drag when you're sliding them through. But I just always love this visual. This is a great way to see. The 28 is definitely a middle of the road. Like, they could be used for either blending or texture. They're kind of in the middle. So the 30T would be the same way. So some important things to note when you're using your texture shears. You want to start with clean, dry hair. Wet or dirty hair can be difficult to cut evenly. and you won't be able to really slide them, I don't think, as well. And you can't really see the texture you're putting in when it's wet. I cut hair both wet and dry. I usually do a wet cut first, and then I finish and polish with my texture shears on dry hair. Sectioning, like I said, you want to determine the sections you'll need to achieve the look that you're going for. I prefer vertical sectioning when I'm blending my layers, and pretty much horizontally when I'm blending my fades. You want to make sure that you're holding your shears correctly, that your thumb fits that way, your ring finger, everything should be pretty much lined up. You can also put your finger on the tension screw for additional control. You also want to take small cuts when using your shears. This will help create a more natural and controlled texture. If you're taking too big of sections, you could cut way too much hair and you can't go back once you cut the hair. So it's better to take small cuts. So I showed you the different types. I'm going to bring over my mannequin. My mannequin looks a little rough, you guys. She was rolling around in my car, but I just wanted to show some different ways. She's already cut into a pretty layered haircut. Actually used her in a previous class. If you want to see me use them for blending fades, you'll have to take one of my fading classes, which hopefully I'll be doing one of those for shark fin in the near future. So I'm going to show you, for example, maybe we want to make her bangs a little more wispy, right? One major rule with your shears, I'm going to use the blending shears. So I'm going to go ahead with the 40T. I don't want her to have chunky pieces in her bangs. I want them to be soft and blended. So what I usually do is pull out a section of her bangs. And my general rule of thumb is where the hair bends, you don't want to cut below that bend. If you cut too close to the scalp, you're going to leave little pieces that stick up off the head everywhere, and nobody wants that, especially if you're doing something on the top or in the front of their face. So always take a little section and just bend it and see where it bends. As long as you're cutting above that bend, you should be safe. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit out of her bang here. And like I said, I like the vertical partings. It makes it more blended. If you take it horizontally, it's going to look a little too sharp. I always texturize my bangs when I cut bangs, unless they're really looking for that blunt look. So that's something that I use them for on a regular basis. You can see they look a lot more wispy. Gives them a little more movement. One thing that's really cool for using them, I'm going to show you a fun use for the more of the chunking shears and the texture shears. The 15T is a great one for actually cutting length on like bobs. You know, when you cut an inverted bob and you just have all that weight at the bottom and they look a little mushroomy, like nobody really wants that, you know? So these are great to get that weight off the ends. So you literally can pull it all down to 0 degrees and cut as you would a haircut until all that hair is gone. And you can essentially do an entire haircut with texture shears. You absolutely could. You have to do a little more, you know, cuts per strand, but you're going to get that nice textured wispy look on the ends. And it's going to take a lot of that bulk off the ends. Now, if they have very thick hair and I need to remove some weight, I generally go from the back. This is where typically most people have a lot of the weight in their hair. Most people around their face, it's more fine. You don't really have to worry about thinning that out. So I generally go from the back. And I take my vertical partings. And I take a pretty nice section. Just want to do this so you guys can see. I'm going to go in with my 40T for this one. Again, bending the hair. I don't want to cut from here up towards the scalp. That's going to leave too many little pieces sticking out, and nobody wants to deal with that. So there's my bend. So I know I can cut from here towards the ends. And it should slide right through. I've just removed a ton of weight within her hair. And she has a lot of layers. This was a very layered haircut that I did. So when I'm blending my layers, I can see my shortest layers to my longest layers. I want to blend those in some. And this is where your blending shears come in handy. So I pull them up where they almost meet. I'm giving her beautiful, soft, textured layers. You can see a lot of that weight coming off the bottom. She's a mannequin, so she really doesn't have a lot of weight on the ends, but just as a demonstration so you guys can see. Now, if I'm doing like a short pixie cut and I want them, oh, it's okay. Shark fin shears are adorable. They'll be okay. So if I'm doing a short pixie cut, and since this is just a mannequin, I'm just going to take a piece at the crown. This, you can go a little closer to the scalp, but again, even if you're working with short hair, go by the bend. I always do that. Now, if you want her to have nice chunky layers, this is where your chunkers come in handy. And even in long hair, if you want to do that, I'm creating a lot of volume in there. You can see how the hair's standing up. Those small pieces are going to push the longer pieces up, giving you a lot more volume. So that's a fun way to use them too. In your pixie cuts, it gives you that nice, chunky, piecey look. Finish with a little bit of a pomade or a texture paste, and they're on their way. But the coolest thing I learned was being able to do a full haircut with your texture shears is amazing. I was intimidated by them at first because there are so many different ones and I didn't know what to do with them, especially the big ones. I was like, what do I do with these, you know? But I use them all the time now, which is really awesome. Are there any questions so far?
No, you're good. You've answered the couple of questions that we had.
Okay. This is a very short class. So I try to keep it like around 30 minutes. Let me see what I can go back here.
Don't worry about how long the class is. The visual that you did on the extensions is fantastic. It's amazing to see on dry extensions what that looks like, and it gives the perfect example of what you would use them for and the results. Fantastic idea to do that.
Right. Yeah, zoom in a little bit more in here so you guys can really take a good look. Turn that a little bit. And everybody's understanding the difference between your blending shears and your texture shears and your thinning shears. Because I didn't know the difference. And I always called them thinning shears for everything. But I learned that doing that can scare your clients. Some clients, they want that volume. They want a lot of hair. So they hear thinning. And they're like, oh my gosh, don't thin my hair. You know, I want a lot of hair. So that's important to use the proper verbiage with your clients as well. So if you're calling them texture shears, blending shears, you're teaching them what you're going to do with their hair. And you can explain to them what they do. like, hey, if I go in with your layers, I can create some volume at the crown for you. I can make sure there's no weight at the bottom for you. You know, there's a million different ways to use them. And like I said, one of my favorite ways to use them is blending fades. And I will do that in a future class for you guys. So if there's no more questions, I can go over anything else, or we could wrap it up. It can be a short one.
Anybody have any questions on Zoom? I'm going to pop over to Facebook again, forgive me, and make sure no one has commented over here. And no one has. They have not commented over here. All right, Jessica, thank you so much.
All right, and that's my demo.
Awesome. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone who joined us. If you have any questions about our texture shears, you can pop right over to our website. We have 2 different kinds. The only difference between each line is the metal that we use, but the tooth count and all of that is the same. We offer them in stainless and in rainbow, and then we have some select colors in like black and rose gold, but that's it. And Jessica, what a phenomenal class. The illustration you used, perfect. You knocked it out of the park. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you. And don't forget to use that code.
Yes. Take care, Jess. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.